May I come in?
Oh. Take your seat, please. Chale, you introduce yourself to all of us.
So my name is Fatima Ramzan. I hail from the district of Bahawalpur. I completed my preliminary education O&E levels from the City School Bahawalpur campus. And my father is a grade 21 professor at Islamia University Bahawalpur. I am the eldest of my siblings. My mother died when I was 8 years old. And after completing my secondary education, I moved to Islamabad for my higher education. I have completed my bachelor's in business administration from Quaid-e-Azam University, Bahawalpur, Islamabad. I graduated in 2022 and I am a vice chancellor gold medalist. Currently, I am working at Jazz as a specialist master data management. I deal with vendor induction and service operations.
Please tell us something about Pakistan.
So Pakistan is located in South Asian region of the world. It has a very geostrategic location. Along with that, it has 4 provinces: Punjab, Balochistan, KPK, and Sindh. Pakistan's geography is such that it has a very diverse neighborhood with India, China, and Afghanistan and Iran. Along with that, Pakistan is the only Muslim country in the world to have nuclear power. Pakistan has a multicultural, pluralistic society, and people come from various and diverse backgrounds.
What is the population of Pakistan?
According to the recent census, it's 24 million approximately. 240 million approximately.
Can you tell us something about this movement of South Punjab, creation of a
Yes. So it was basically a movement was started to make South Punjab a province, and there has been a debate going on whether to make it or not. According to my humble opinion, I think that currently there is already a going on rift between the center and provinces over the distribution of resources. If we do make South Punjab a province, we need to revise our allocation of resources on water, on electricity, on energy. So if we are also currently there is a discord between center and provinces. If we have to make South Punjab a province, we need to address the grievances of the current provinces on the resources, on the their budgetary concerns as well. So if we do make South Punjab a province, address the grievances of the current provinces, and then we can make South Punjab a province, and we have to then revise all the contracts of water and resources, etc.
Tell us about this international scene, especially in the Middle East. Hamas has attacked Israel.
Okay.
And the balance of power, they say, is shifting. Now, can you analyze it, how it is shifting?
Yes, sir. Sir, the unprecedented attack by Hamas has, first of all, it had a direct impact on the Israel's military and satellite and intelligence security. Many analysts have considered it to be a direct intelligence failure of Israel, as its Iron Dome technology could not efficiently detect Hamas's attack. Then we have seen that the Western countries have shown their unsolicited support for Israel and have condemned Hamas's attack. And they have said that Israel has a right to self-defense as per the Article 51 of the UN Charter. But if we do if we support that, if the Western countries are supporting that Israel has a right of self-defense, we need to look at the International Court of Justice advisory jurisdiction, which states that an occupying power does not have a right to self-defense in an occupied state. So we have seen that there is a balance of power is shifting, as in US, we have seen that many countries around the world are condemning US support for Israel, and Russia and China are finding it as a momentum to regain their foothold in the region. Since we have seen that Western countries are supporting Israel, and Russia and China has called for a ceasefire. They have called for the stoppage in Israel's genocide in Palestine. And for this, they have also tried to, Russia and Brazil have also tried to call for a United Nations Security Council resolution, but it has been vetoed by the United States. So the balance of power in a sense is shifting, that US does not have a very hegemonic role. We can see that US is very biased in the current conflict. It's basically its support of the human rights throughout its previous years has been challenged. We have seen that US is not really supporting human rights in the current conflict.
When US Constitution was approved?
So US Constitution was approved in 1789.
1789.
Yes.
Okay, my last question. Tell me 5 major social issues of Pakistan in your view.
Number one, social issue is poverty, stemming from a cost of living crisis that is currently facing Pakistan. Along with that, this is linking. Then there are educational issues. There are approximately 2.2 million out of school children, and it is not out there are out of school children. So the education is not being mainstream. Then there is gender inequality. Women are not being given equal rights. There are a lot of violence and harassment claims being made by women, and especially in the multinational corporations, women are being objectified and they are facing harassment as well. Along with that, there is a wage disparity. There is unequal distribution of wealth, resulting in class stratification and social inequalities. Then we have another point can be that all this has led to a rise in criminal rate as well, because people are not having enough resources to meet their own needs, resultingly they are resorting to extreme measures. There has been a rise in intolerance, hate speech, etc.
Thank you. Please.
Who heads the Foreign Office?
Currently, Sir Cyrus Qazi is the Foreign Secretary of Pakistan. And are you asking me about the Foreign Minister?
What? Okay, fine. Foreign Minister, and then
Jalil Abbas Jalani is the current indirect
Cyrus. And what else is the the structure of Foreign Office?
There is an assistant director, then there is a deputy director, then there is a director, there is a director general, there is an additional foreign secretary, and then there is a foreign secretary.
How do you see the foreign policy of Pakistan with regard to its neighbors?
Sir, foreign policy of Pakistan is with regards to India is security oriented. We feel that India is a existential threat to Pakistan, and since its inception from 1947, Pakistan's foreign policy has been highly India oriented. We have formed alliances with US to improve our security structure to counter Indian influence. Then we have also gained nuclear power, so that we can have an effective deterrence against the Indian threat. Along with that, at the Western Front, Pakistan tried to gain strategic depth through involvement in the US Soviet occupation of Afghanistan, and then the US involved terror as well. So Pakistan's foreign policy with respect to Afghanistan has been a bit confusing, as in at one place you are trying to gain a strategic depth, then you are trying to fight against those people that you trained once. So this is a bit confusing, and currently Pakistan is also deporting many of the illegal immigrants, even though it is a national security need that illegal immigrants are posing national security threat. But I think this process needs to be more streamlined so that we do not affect bilateral relations with Afghanistan. Foreign policy relations with China have been very good. We have a very strategic partnership with China. Iron Brotherhood and all that. Currently in Belt and Road Third Forum meeting.
Come to Iran.
Okay. With Iran, we do not have a very strong relationship because of Western sanctions that have been imposed on Iran. And along with that, we also have been dominated towards Saudi Arabia. So relations with Iran on sectarian fronts have been a bit low.
Okay. How will you evaluate the system of selection of CSS officers?
Sir, I believe it is a very comprehensive and very system procedurized selection. There are a set of rules and procedures that have to be followed. The civil service, the FPSC is looking for analytical and critical things that they need. Every bureaucrat should have. Moreover, they are also looking for efficiency and effectiveness of the people that they are going to induct in the service.
Don't you think the occupational groups, they should have their own system of selection of like income tax, they should have their own system. Police should have its own system, so that people know that they have to serve in this organization. It should not be generalistic in nature. You see, more professionally
So
oriented.
there is a debate that in civil services reforms, when we talk about that there should be a specialized induction. However, I believe that the training process of civil services is such that after the general training, every group has to undergo a specialized training as well. So the requirements of every occupational groups are addressed in that specialized training.
Okay, fine. Is money laundering and terrorist financing the same, or they're different?
Sir, they are different. Money laundering is basically a white-collar crime. It can be committed by a businessman who wants to evade tax, and he can launder money to whitewash that money. Terror financing is basically associated with terrorism. It is a crime throughout the world, and it is basically not advantageous for any country, even though money laundering is also not advantageous, but that is the involvement of non-state actors that cause a direct threat to the sovereignty of the state as well.
You say your hobbies are book reading. Can you name any book you have read?
Sir, I have read Thousand Splendid Suns by Khalid Hosseini, and I'm currently reading Maliha Lodhi's Pakistan, A Crisis State.
What is the role of the Public Accounts Committee, Parliamentary Public Accounts Committee?
I will have to take a guess. I'm not really sure. I think it is basically to manage the fiscal processes of the country. There is a federal consolidated fund and there is a public accounts committee. All the funds that are required for public welfare, I believe, are managed through that. All the finances provided.
No. Public Accounts
Okay,
Committee
sir, I will look into it.
Has a very important role to play.
Okay, sir, I will look into it.
What do you mean by occasional workaholic?
Sir, there are some times that I give a lot of preference to my work at the cost of family time as well. So, but that does not always happen. There are times when I have to work very hard for an exam or I have to complete my targets on job.
And finally, what is internal audit?
Internal audit. Internal audit is conducted by the management itself within the organization. An external auditor does not need to have to be appointed. Internal audit is conducted to make sure that the internal controls are in place and it also eases the way for external auditor so it can conduct the financial statement.
Thank you.
Welcome to CSPs Academy for CSS PMS preparation. CSS PMS तहरीरी इम्तिहान के तमाम मज़ामीन की ऑनलाइन और ऑन कैंपस तैयारी के साथ साथ सब्जेक्ट सिलेक्शन, असाइनमेंट चेकिंग, क्लास टेस्ट, मॉक एग्जाम, इंडिविजुअल टीचर डिस्कशन और फीडबैक सेशन का इनकाद किया जाएगा। इसके अलावा FPSC की तजवीज़ करदा बुक्स से बने मयारी नोट्स और CSP पब्लिशर की बेहतरीन बुक्स मुहैया की जाएंगी।
Fatima, I'm very happy that foreign service is your first choice.
Thank you, ma'am.
But you've studied finance.
Yes.
What's the difference between audit and accounting?
Ma'am, auditing is basically the review of the financial statements by an external auditor, that the financial statements show a true and fair view and they have been prepared according to the company's own laws and the international accounting standards or currently international financial reporting standards. Whereas accounting is basically the process of making those financial statements through reporting, through recording, journalizing and ledger, all these processes.
During your response, you use certain terms that I would like to have your understanding on. You used the term Pakistan wanted to have strategic depth for which it got involved in Afghanistan at the time of Soviet invasion. Could you please explain this statement that you made?
Ma'am, strategic depth is basically, since Pakistan has a hostile eastern neighbor, so strategic depth is basically a territorial ground, gaining a territorial ground in another country so that you can have a support during a military conflict. So Pakistan wanted to gain a strategic depth in
Is
Afghanistan.
it your definition?
Yes, I have interfered it.
Okay.
Yes. So Pakistan wanted to gain that strategic depth so that if in the case of a military conflict with India, it can have a peaceful Western border so that it can fully focus on the Indian aggression.
Why would Pakistan need strategic depth?
I think I will have to look into it.
Because if a country is looking for a strategic depth, there should be a reason to it.
Yes, I think there is a security reason primarily due to...
No, strategic depth is strategic depth.
Okay. I will look into this concept more.
Please do.
Okay, ma'am.
The other term that you used was that Pakistan's foreign policy was very India-oriented or Indo-centric. Why would that be?
Ma'am, from 1947, Pakistan faced existential threat from India. We have gone to war with 3 wars with India over Kashmir, and resultantly we had a dominated because Pakistan felt that Indian aggression can actually challenge the sovereignty of the state. So India-oriented foreign policy has been since the inception of Pakistan. We have made bilateral and multilateral alliances to counter that aggression. Along with that, we have gained nuclear capability so that it can serve as a deterrent against Indian aggression in the South Asia.
So do you think those alliances helped?
For the time being, it helped in the national interest. Currently, Pakistan, according to the National Security Policy of 2022, Pakistan is changing its dimension. It's moving more towards geoeconomics, but that is also undergoing a paradigm shift because there have to be a proper elected government for a foreign policy to be established. Currently, there is an interim government, and the mandate of an interim government is not to work on foreign policy.
Fatima, we talk a lot about change in foreign policy focus from geostrategic to geoeconomic. Do you think a country with such limited exports can have geoeconomic?
Ma'am, for a geo-economic outlook, first of all, I think for any independent foreign policy, we need to put our own house in order. And that means we need to have a political and economic stability. If we do have an economic stability, we can have an independent foreign policy, and then why not a geo-economic outlook? We can pursue bilateral economic relations on our terms with other countries, and we do not have to depend on multilateral donor conditions like IMF and World Bank that impose restrictions on economic culture.
How will you do it on your terms when you don't have any products? You're not selling anything. Your exports are so limited.
Yes, ma'am. That is the thing about economic stability. We need to work on improving our exports. We need to work on their efficiency. Currently, the work is moving towards digitalization. We need to use this, and we need to inculcate that in our export culture so that we can improve the efficiency, we can improve the service delivery and customer satisfaction.
And you also said that our policy towards Afghanistan is confusing, and the deportation of these illegal Afghan immigrants will affect our relations with Afghanistan?
Ma'am, in a short term, they will have a impact because people that have escaped, many analysts are arguing that many of the illegal immigrants are refugees that have escaped persecution. But citing national security concerns, we cannot allow them to challenge the writ of the state even though they are. So the policy is correct, but the policy needs to be more streamlined. Like Maliha Lodhi has also said, that it needs to be done in processes. There should be a proper streamlined process that these are the criminal, these people have a criminal background, they should be deported first and then others the later on.
And you think they are not doing it? Do you think they are not consulting UNHCR?
I think they are, but the UNHCR has still presented its reservations on the deportation.
Why?
Because they think that people who are deported back to Afghanistan may face a lot more persecution and violence on the account of the interim Afghan government in Afghanistan.
You know, Fatima, that in our negotiations, we had told UNHCR and the international community that we are willing to give all the support to the Afghan refugees, provided they leave our land on the other side of the border. It's just other side of the border.
Yes.
But the politics of the international community and Afghan government are the reason why there is reluctance. So when you study things, do think about it. And Malia Lodi is your favorite character. Why?
Ma'am, first of all, I believe she's a symbol of woman empowerment.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know, I just like her policies. And
What policy? She
she
didn't even take CSS and she came into
yes,
foreign
she was
service.
a political
So you
appointee.
think that's a good way, or the way you're taking is a good way?
I think I'm the one taking the good way because I'm
I
going through a
think so
process.
too. So when you choose your personality, please think about
Okay,
it.
ma'am.
Thank you, Vita. Dr. Saab.
Thank you, ma'am. Well, Fatma, you read US history.
Yes.
So I'll ask question related to your option subject and your
Okay, sir.
compulsory subject. What do you think that what is the tendency in American political system? The government is centralized or decentralized?
Sir, there are certain. It is a democracy, so there are certain subjects that are with the center. but
Government is centralized or decentralized?
It is decentralized, I believe.
Decentralized.
Yes.
So America is a federation with centripetal forces tendency.
It is a president. President also
centrifugal.
have a lot of authority. Okay, sir. It is basically separatists that were facing religious persecution in England. They migrated to Holland. After that, they believed that they would lose their religious or cultural.
Don't go for
values.
the history. Tell
Okay.
me the significance of
Sir,
Mayflower
it was
Pact in
the
American
first,
history for earlier colonies.
It was the first charter
Good.
signed between
Yes.
signed in the colonies.
This is
Constitutional
my
charter.
question.
Okay.
And you answer very well. It is stated that Magna Carta formed the foundation of American Constitution. How?
Sir, I don't think so that Magna Carta formed a foundation of U.S. Constitution.
Have you ever heard about Magna Carta?
Yes, 1215. There was a lot of king basically used to persecute his subjects, and there was this carta was signed to basically free some of the liberties of the subjects. But I believe that the thing that U.S. Constitution that basically provided essence to the U.S. Constitution was the Bill of Rights. It consisted of all the rights, and it is also known as the international
What are 1, 2, or 3 characteristics of Age of Enlightenment or Age of Reason?
age. So first of all, there has been growing movement, growing progressivism. And then there are shift towards philosophy and scientific knowledge, and then industrialization, domestic industrialization.
How this Age of Enlightenment created impact on making of U.S. Constitution?
The makers who made this constitution, they were basically part of. I'm sorry, sir, I have to look into it.
Okay, can you guess that which European political philosopher contributed much toward the making of U.S. Constitution?
No, sir.
Earlier you talk about Bill of Rights. This was major philosophy of one of political philosophers belonged to Europe.
Okay.
Who propounded this idea of Bill of Rights?
Sir, it was the anti-federalists that basically proposed with respect to U.S. history.
What was the stance of Federalists?
Federalists was saying that they were against the Bill of Rights, basically.
Okay, what is, keeping in mind mercantilism,
Yes.
What is the significance of Navigation Act?
Navigation Act basically said that the ships made in Britain would only made in Britain would be used by the colonies. Colonies would not be allowed to make their own ships for navigation.
Okay, when Truman Doctrine propounded?
Sir, Truman Doctrine propounded during the Cold War. It was basically
Who was Truman?
He was president of USA.
He was Democrat or Republican?
I think he was a Democrat.
And who was FDR? He was a Democrat or Republican? Who became president after Truman?
I think, I'm sorry, sir, I have to look into it.
Okay, don't you think that Truman Doctrine is digression from a policy of isolationism or Monroe Doctrine?
Yes, sir, it is a shift from the policy of Monroe Doctrine, because now we are saying that there should be political, economic support to the countries that are facing communist threat. And in Monroe Doctrine, we are saying that we should have isolationist foreign policy.
Okay, when happened War of Buxar?
1764, sorry.
1764. And what major change happened right after the War of Buxar?
Sir, I'm not really sure, but I think in East India Company directly gained control of the Indian affairs.
Okay, 1857, what happened?
War of Independence.
That was War of Independence or revolt?
It has three names: War of Independence, Indian Mutiny, Indian Revolt.
Good. Why Revolt Act is called as Black Law?
So basically, the right of the individuals to have a free and fair trial was suppressed. There were forceful arrests and wrongful arrests, and led to Jallianwala massacre as well.
Can you name 3 dignitaries who resigned after Revolt Act
No, sir, I cannot recall.
from being member of British Imperial Legislative Council?
One of them, I think, Gandhi, Mohammed Das Gandhi. I'm sorry.
For my last question.
Yes, sir.
What is the cause behind the failure of Wavell Plan?
Wavell Plan. Sir, it said that there should be 2 form of governments, 2 bicameral legislature, but the demand for a separate Muslim homeland was not recognized. As a result, there was also that more powers were vested with the center.
Okay, thank you.
Let's conclude this formal interview. अपनी सेल्फ असेसमेंट करो, 1 से 10 में से कितने नंबर दोगे?
Sir, 7, 8.
माशाल्लाह, you deserve, you are good, you have got a
जी?
अच्छी पर्सनैलिटी आपकी, नथिंग टू वरी, कम्युनिकेशन स्किल आपके ठीक है, यू कैन स्पीक वेल, बॉडी लैंग्वेज आपकी ठीक है, यू आर इंटेलिजेंट, रिफ्लेक्शन आ रहा है, कॉन्फिडेंट, व्हेन यू हैव गॉट नॉलेज यू आर मोर कॉन्फिडेंट, नॉलेज लेवल आपका सेटिस्फैक्ट्री है, यू आर प्रिपेयर्ड, आपका सिटिंग पोस्चर ठीक है, इसी तरह आपने वहाँ कंडक्ट करना है अपने आप को, योर वॉइस टोन एंड वॉइस इम्पैक्ट वो ठीक आ रहा है, ठीक है। आप जो इमेज आता है, हार्ड वर्किंग भी आप लग रही है, यू आर इमोशनली स्टेबल लग रही हैं आप। जवाब अब ये है कि इसमें देयर फ्यू एरियाज छोटे छोटे हैं, एक तो टू द पॉइंट रिप्लाई दे,
ओके सर,
बट डोंट उसको फैलाए नहीं,
ओके सर,
बिकॉज सवाल में से सवाल निकलते, तो ट्राई टू बी टू द पॉइंट, ठीक है। यू आर इन ए गुड स्टेट ऑफ preparedness and you have got about 7-8 days, keep it up.
ओके सर,
न्यूज़पेपर पे ज़्यादा तवज्जो दें,
ओके सर,
उसकी जो है ना इंटरनेशनल न्यूज़, नेशनल एंड सोशल न्यूज़, ठीक है ना। दिस इज ऑल यू, और इंट्रोडक्शन आपका ठीक था, लेकिन इसको कोशिश करो 1 पेजर लिख लो, 1 पेजर,
ओके सर,
1 पेजर लिख के, और उसमें ओनली सब्जेक्टिविटी, ऑब्जेक्टिविटी नहीं,
ओके सर,
ठीक है ना, उसको लेके आप और फिर सीखेंगे वो 1 मिनट में डिलीवर करना है,
ठीक है सर,
ठीक है ना। तो जो आपका बैकग्राउंड है वो ठीक है, साउथ पंजाब मूवमेंट पे बात हो सकती है, बहावलपुर स्टेट पे भी बात हो सकती है, यू मस्ट हैव मोर नॉलेज अबाउट इट, ठीक है, ठीक है,
थैंक यू सर,
बेस्ट ऑफ लक।
ये आपकी अच्छी परफॉर्मेंस है, अपने सवालों के जवाब बड़े अच्छे दिए हैं, ठीक है। फॉरेन पॉलिसी में ईरान के बारे में ज़रा थोड़ा सा आप जब जाएंगे इसको और ज़रा स्टडी करें, क्यों ईरान के साथ हमारे जो मिसगिविंग्स हैं वो क्रॉस बॉर्डर टेररिज्म जो है वो उस पर ज़्यादा है। ईरान कहता है वहाँ से आते हैं, पाकिस्तान से आकर उनके एरिया में वो टेररिज्म करते हैं, चले आते हैं, और पाकिस्तान कहता है कि इधर से आते हैं, वो ईरान से आते हैं, और फिर ये तो इसकी वजह से पाकिस्तान और ईरान के ताल्लुकात में काफ़ी जो है इतनी ज़्यादा गर्मजोशी नहीं है,
ठीक है सर।
तो ये जो CSS ऑफिसर्स की सिलेक्शन का जो प्रोसीजर है, इसके दोनों व्यूज़ दें आप,
ओके सर,
दोनों, मतलब जो आप सवाल अगर कोई करता है तो गिव बोथ pros and cons, it has pros and cons,
yes,
you see, so you try to give it in an objective manner,
okay sir।
तो ये है इसमें ये जो आपने मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग और टेररिस्ट फाइनेंसिंग, you see, terrorist financing cannot take place without money laundering.
Yes.
मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग प्रीसीड्स टेररिस्ट फाइनेंस।
ओके।
ठीक है, तो ये उसकी एक जो है ना, हाँ, और पब्लिक अकाउंट्स कमेटी का आपको पता है।
जी सर, मैं इसको देखूंगी।
आपने वो फाइनेंस किया हुआ है, ये यही करती है गवर्नमेंट। वो जो AGPR वो जो करता है ना, ऑडिट करता है डिपार्टमेंट्स के एक्सपेंडिचर्स की, वो जो पैरास बनते हैं, ऑडिट
ठीक है।
पैरास जो बनते हैं, वो जाते हैं इसके पास पब्लिक अकाउंट्स कमेटी में।
सही है।
ये फिर उनके डिपार्टमेंटल हेड्स को बुलाती है, उनसे पूछती है कि आप, इस तरह से अकाउंटेबिलिटी होती है।
ओके सर,
ठीक
मैं
है?
इसको चेक कर।
हाँ, बाकी आपने माशाल्लाह बड़ा अच्छा जो है आपकी परफॉर्मेंस रही है, तो विश यू ऑल द बेस्ट।
थैंक यू सर।
Foreign service is your first choice. A diplomat doesn't throw terms like this.
ओके मैम।
Each word that you use will be judged. और आपके पैनल में वहाँ पे फॉरेन सर्विस के लोग हैं, तो वो इन सब पे मैंने तो आपको सिर्फ लिटमस टेस्ट किया था ना, कि जो आपने लफ्ज इस्तेमाल किए, डू यू रियली नो व्हाट यू आर सेइंग।
ओके।
उसमें अगर गैप होगा तो आपके मार्क्स कटेंगे।
ठीक है मैम।
तो जो भी बोलो सोच के बोलो,
ठीक है।
जो वोकैब्युलरी यूज करो उसको डिफाइंड हो, और आपको पता हो स्ट्रेटेजिक डेप्थ इज डिफाइंड बट यू डिडंट नो द डेफिनेशन। ठीक है, व्हाई डिड पाकिस्तान वांट टू हैव स्ट्रेटेजिक डेप्थ? बिकॉज अगर पाकिस्तान का नक्शा देखो, इट्स लाइक अ सिलेंडर,
यस।
you don't have any depth. You get my point?
यस।
That's why there was this perception in certain quarters, not necessarily in the Foreign Office,
यस।
that perhaps because we don't have that landmass to give us that strategic depth, that's why it was important to have a good relation. Even otherwise, it's good to have good relations with your neighbors. But in this context, because the Soviets had invaded, और उस वक्त एक ये भी theory थी, have you ever heard of warm water theory?
Yes, ma'am.
So that theory was also very prevalent at that time. So the people of that time thought कि ये अफगानिस्तान पे नहीं रुकेंगे, ये नीचे तक आएंगे।
ठीक है।
तो उनको रोकने के लिए उस वक्त जरूरी था कि आप उसका हिस्सा बनते।
Okay.
ठीक है बच्ची, you are a winning horse. I hope to see you in Foreign Office.
Thank you, ma'am.
But prepare for it, beta.
I will say very briefly, बस ये कंट्रोवर्शियल पर्सनैलिटी का इशूज़ का, इन दो इशूज़ को रिमूव करना, सारे आंसर जो आपके ऑप्शन से रिलेटेड सारे आंसर कैंडिडेट्स आंसर नहीं कर सकता, बट रिमेंबर आपने जो आंसर करने हैं वो बहुत अच्छे और सॉलिड वे में करने हैं।
ठीक है सर।
आपकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग बहुत अच्छी है। आई एम हैप्पी कि आप फ्रेश ग्रेजुएट और आपने इतने अच्छे क्रिटिकल और एनालिटिकल आंसर आपने रिप्लाई किए। एक चीज़ याद रखिएगा, मैग्ना कार्टा फॉर्म्स द कॉर्नरस्टोन ऑफ ऑलमोस्ट ऑल द वर्ल्ड्स कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन। ठीक है, वेदर इट्स अमेरिकन, इट्स पाकिस्तानी और द ब्रिटिश। ठीक है, क्योंकि इसने किंग की पावर्स को जो है कम किया था।
सर।
और बाकी आप, आई होप कि आप इन जो अभी आपको बताई गई ना बातें, इनको रिमूव करेंगे तो यू वुड बी अमंग बहुत अच्छे आप जो कैंडिडेट्स में आएंगे आप। ठीक है, थैंक यू,
बेस्ट ऑफ लक।
थैंक यू सर।
You are done.
Thank you, sir.
माशाल्लाह।